Hey guys, Supra's here, and welcome to a Gran Turismo 7 drifting tutorial video. This first drifting tutorial video will cover setting up the car, basic drift techniques, and just learning how to drift in general. Today we'll be drifting a Mazda Roadster touring car, 300 horsepower, 800 kgs, small, lightweight, easy to drift. Next up we'll be going through some replays and just watching how the car handles on the track. What I'm watching for is just how the car handles in general, using the handbrake, how that's handling, and general control of the car, and also watching for guard rub, because you find throwing it into the transitions, it will tend to give you a guard rub if you're a little bit too low. So what we noticed with the test drive and the replays, the rear's quite low. It's probably border, I probably wouldn't lower that much more. The front feels like it floats a little bit, so I'll probably look at lowering and maybe stiffening up the springs of the front maybe, and definitely stiff up the rear as well. I'll run you through that anyway on how to do all of that. It's very sensitive in the touching, trying to drift, so I would look at maybe lowering the camber angle in the front. The rear, I'd probably increase that maybe a little bit, but not too much. The initial torque, it seems quite good, but we'll look at increasing that, and the sensitivity acceleration as well. Also within the gear changes, I noticed 4 and 5 don't have enough power in them, so we'll look at maybe adjusting them as well. So these are the settings I've come up with. We'll give them a go in a minute anyway, just to run you through each individual part and what they do. This is just to my aspect, this is just how I feel it works for me. But anyway, everybody's different, but anyway, we'll run into it. Here you have your ride height, obviously. This will raise and lower the car. Anti-roll bars there, your sway, that is how much sway your car will create. The stiffer it is, the less sway. It helps in drifting to have less have obviously a higher anti-roll, stiffens it up a bit more, makes it a bit more controllable. Your dampening ratio, expansion and compression, to me that seems like front and rear shocks. When you come into disturbances on the road like the median strip, throwing a car sideways, your shocks are compressing and expanding. This is how smooth you want your transitions to be, and this helps a lot, because in drifting you need the right car setup to be able to control the drift, otherwise you're not going to be able to control anything. So yeah, move along. Your natural frequency, that is, to me, that seems like your springs, how soft or how strong your springs setup is. The higher the number, the softer it is. The lower the number, the stronger it is. Just be careful that with lowering these too much, if you dramatically lower these too much, it will lower your car. You've just got to be careful of guard rub, obviously, within your transitions. If your shock compresses low enough, your tyre will hit your guard, and that is some of the reason why you're probably spinning out. Camber angle, for front, a little bit less than the rear, depending on the car. For a lower horsepower car, I'd run a low camber angle on both front and back. As you move up to higher horsepower cars, you might need a bit of a stronger camber angle. That's just to hold higher speeds around the corners, with your shocks and stuff compressing. Your camber angle helps with more or less tyre on the road at the time, that sort of thing. Toe angle, that will tow your tyre in or out a little bit more. If you kind of feel like it's understeering or oversteering, then that's where you would look at adjusting your toe angle. Sometimes if you feel it's not quite turning as much as it should, throw this out just a little bit. A little bit helps. I've never wound it up any more than, I think, 0.6, 5 or 6, I think. Initial torque. For lower horsepower cars, you tend to run a stronger torque, because you need more power at the LSD, at the rear wheels, to get the drift going. Your acceleration sensitivity, that is, to me, how hard it's working from 0 to 100, if you know what I mean. Whether it's slowly building up at a lower end or the higher end, it's a faster build up. Braking sensitivity, this helps if you feel the brakes aren't quite helping you slow down fast enough. You can turn this up a little bit more and it will help you slow down faster. Also the gears, if you feel like a couple of gears aren't performing, turn them down a little bit. It improves a lot. The more acceleration you have, the better control you have in your drift, because all it comes down to in drifting is, for me, handbrake, throttle control and counter steering are the three main aspects of drifting. Here we'll just go over a few drifting tips. If you feel you're going too fast for the corners, feel free to hold on to the brakes as well as the handbrakes. Also, to slow yourself down faster, sit on a slight drift angle. The more of a drift angle you're in, the more G-forces on the car, which creates slide. So you want to either be fully straight slowing down or just drifting sideways, only just. Also, don't be afraid to hold on to the handbrake. The handbrake in drifting is your best friend. Don't feel you're overusing it or underusing it. Sometimes it's even worth holding that handbrake on just for a few seconds longer because you know you're going to spin out. You should be able to hold the handbrake, flick it sideways to turn into the drift, and just counter steer. And you should be able to hold that handbrake and counter steer, and you should just hold that drift until you're ready to power down, and then just power down. And it's all about throttle control. Not too much throttle, not too less. And always on your angles, if you're over 90 degrees, you don't want to be so power down. If you're under 90 degrees, you can power down, but obviously you still need to be on enough of an angle to make it round the corner. It's all about counter steering and power and handbrake. So this is it, guys, fully tuned, ready to drift. If you guys found this video helpful, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, wait for part 2. Here goes the final drift video coming up. Enjoy and see you next time. Thanks, guys. As you can see, that this is the final setup. I'm happy with how this is going. We lowered it. I've left the back a little bit higher because it seems a little bit stiffer, and I just want to keep it clear from those rear wheels. Keep the guard away from the rear wheels. Anti-roll bars are quite strong. It seems to hit the median strips and seems to glide over them quite good, so I'm happy with that. The rear's a little bit stiff, but I'm happy with it overall. If you feel that you need a bit more power, maybe turn these up a little bit more, or even play with the gearing. Especially that fifth probably needs to be wound down a wee bit to give it a bit more power. But if I was to do that, I'd probably drop fourth as well, just to help out fifth, not have to struggle so much to get up to fifth.